Captain Marcus Chen stood at attention in the observation deck of the Times Starlight Meridian Asterisk. The massive ship glided through space like a floating city. Its walls were made of smooth metal that sparkled with alien technology. Marcus had seen many things in his 20 years with Earth Defense Force. But this ship still amazed him. "Beautiful, isn't it?" asked Lieutenant Sarah Kim, his second in command. She pointed at the stars outside the big windows. Marcus nodded. "Hard to believe we're really here. 2 years ago, most of these aliens wouldn't even talk to humans. The humans were part of a small group protecting Princess Velnara of the Zephyrian Empire. The princess was traveling to peace talks that could change everything for Earth. If the talks went well, humans would get their first big trade deal with an alien empire." Marcus walked through the ship's halls. The Zephyrian guards looked like living crystals. Their skin was clear and blue, and they moved without making any sound. They carried weapons that could cut through steel like paper. These aliens had been fighting wars when humans were still living in caves. "Captain Chen," came a soft voice behind him. Marcus turned around. Princess Velnara stood there, her crystal skin catching the light. She was tall and thin, with eyes that seemed to glow from inside. When she spoke, her voice sounded like music. "Your Highness," Marcus said, giving a small bow. "I wanted to thank you and your team," she said. "My people do not trust easily, but you have made this journey feel safe." Marcus felt proud. "We're honored to serve, Princess. Please, call me Velnara. And tell me, what do you think of the talks ahead?" Marcus thought carefully. "I think both sides want peace. That's a good start." Velnara smiled. "Your people think differently than mine. We plan everything with logic. But humans, you follow your hearts too. It's strange, but interesting." Before Marcus could answer, alarms started screaming throughout the ship. Red lights flashed on the walls. "All security teams to battle stations," came a voice over the speakers. "We are under attack." Marcus grabbed his radio. "This is Chen. All human units report." "Captain, we've got big problems," Sarah's voice crackled back. Through the windows, Marcus could see laser beams cutting through space. The enemy ships were black and covered with spikes. He knew these ships. Void Reapers, the worst pirates in the galaxy. "Princess, you need to get to your safe room now," Marcus said. Velnara's eyes went wide. "But my guards are already fighting. Come on." Marcus ran with the princess through the shaking ship. Explosions echoed through the halls. Smoke filled the air. They passed Zephyrian guards running to fight the attackers. The ship shook again, harder this time. Marcus grabbed the wall to keep from falling. "They've broken through our shields," Velnara said, her voice scared for the first time. They reached the princess's quarters. The safe room was behind thick metal doors that could stop almost any weapon. Marcus pushed the door controls. But nothing happened. "The power's out," he said. "The doors won't close." More explosions. Closer now. Marcus could hear laser fire getting louder. "Captain," Sarah's voice came through his radio. "The Reapers are boarding. They've got power armor and heavy weapons. The Zephyrian guards are falling back." Marcus looked around the room. It was big and fancy, with crystal furniture and art on the walls. But there was only one way, in or out. "Princess, hide behind that big chair," he said. "Don't come out. No matter what happens." "What are you going to do?" Marcus checked his weapon. It was just a regular human rifle. Nothing special compared to alien guns. "My job." 50. "My job." Heavy footsteps echoed in the hallway outside. Marcus could hear the Void Reapers talking in their rough language. They were getting closer. The princess looked at him with her glowing eyes. "You can't fight them all alone." "Watch me," Marcus said. The first Reaper came through the door wearing black armor covered in spikes. He was huge, maybe 8 feet tall. His face was hidden behind a metal mask. Marcus shot him 3 times in the chest. The Reaper stumbled, but kept coming. Marcus rolled behind a crystal table as laser beams cut through the air above his head. He counted at least 4 more Reapers in the hallway. "Come out, human," one of them called. "Give us the Crystal Princess, and we won't kill you slowly." Marcus said nothing. He was thinking fast. The room had air vents, crystal decorations he could use as weapons, and furniture to hide behind. It wasn't much, but it was what he had. He grabbed a heavy crystal statue and threw it at the lights. The room went dark. Now, the Reapers couldn't see clearly, but Marcus knew every inch of the room. The Reapers came in shooting. Their laser beams lit up the darkness like deadly fireworks. Marcus crawled under a couch and shot one Reaper in the leg. The alien fell down, screaming. "Find him!" the leader shouted. Marcus army crawled to the air vent. He pulled out the metal cover and climbed inside. The space was tight, but he could move through it. He crawled above the Reapers' heads and listened to them searching the room. "Where's the princess?" one asked. "Behind the chair, probably," another answered. Marcus dropped through the ceiling vent right behind them. He shot 2 Reapers before they knew he was there. The others spun around, but Marcus was already moving. He slid across the smooth floor and took cover behind a crystal desk. Only 2 Reapers left. But they were smart now. They weren't rushing at him anymore. "You fight well for a primitive," the leader called. "But you're just one human. We are Void Reapers. We've killed thousands." "Yeah?" Marcus shouted back. "Well, I'm from Earth. We're crazy." He meant it too. Marcus had grown up hearing stories about human soldiers who never gave up. Men who fought impossible battles because someone had to. This felt like one of those times. The battle went on for what felt like hours. Marcus used everything he could think of. He made bombs from cleaning supplies he found in a closet. He used mirrors to confuse the Reapers about where he was. He even threw chairs at them when he ran out of bullets. The last Reaper was the biggest one. His armor was covered in scars from old battles. He cornered Marcus near the window. "End of the line, human," the Reaper said. Marcus was bleeding from several wounds. His rifle was empty. But he didn't give up. He grabbed a broken piece of crystal and charged at the Reaper. That's when the rescue ships arrived. The window exploded inward as consortium fighters attacked the Reaper ships outside. The big alien turned to look, and Marcus drove the crystal into a gap in his armor. When the rescue team found them, Marcus was unconscious on the floor. The princess was safe behind her chair. All the Void Reapers were dead. Later, as medics worked on his wounds, Marcus heard Princess Velnara talking to the rescue commander. "He saved my life," she was saying. "One human against impossible odds. I've never seen anything like it." Marcus closed his eyes and smiled. Just another day's work for a human. Marcus woke up in a room that looked like it was made of diamonds. Everything around him sparkled with soft blue light. The bed felt like he was floating on a cloud. When he tried to sit up, pain shot through his chest. "You should not move yet," came a familiar voice. Princess Velnara sat in a chair next to his bed. She looked worried, which was strange on her crystal face. "Where am I?" Marcus asked. His voice sounded rough. "The Royal Medical Center on my home world. You have been sleeping for 3 days." Marcus looked at his hands. They were covered in some kind of clear gel that made his skin tingle. "What is this stuff?" "Healing crystal extract. It helps your body fix itself faster." Velnara leaned forward. The doctors were amazed. "Most aliens would have died from your wounds. But you kept healing." Anderson. Marcus tried to remember the fight. It came back in pieces. The dark room. The laser beams. The pain. Did everyone else make it out? "Yes. Because of what you did. The peace talks happened as planned. My people and yours are now friends." A door slid open, and a tall Zephyrian in white robes walked in. His crystal skin was darker than the princess's, and his eyes glowed brighter. "This is Dr. Krental," Velnara said. "He has been taking care of you." The doctor looked at Marcus like he was studying a puzzle. "Fascinating. Your species heals differently than ours. We use logic to control our bodies, but you heal through." Marcus laughed, then winced as it hurt his ribs. "That sounds about right." Over the next few days, Velnara visited Marcus every day. She was curious about everything human. She asked about Earth, about Marcus's family, about why humans fought so hard for each other. "My people think with one mind," she explained one day. They were sitting in a garden made of living crystal trees. "We can feel each other's thoughts. When one of us is hurt, we all feel it. But humans, you're all alone in your heads." "It's not so bad," Marcus said. "Gives us privacy. But how do you make decisions? How do you know what's right?" Quote, Marcus thought about it. "We guess a lot. We go with our gut feelings. Sometimes we're wrong, but sometimes we're really right." Velnara's eyes glowed brighter. "That's what I don't understand. In the fight, you knew you might die. Logic said you should run, but you stayed. Someone had to protect you. But why you? You barely knew me." Marcus shrugged. "It was the right thing to do." Velnara stared at him for a long moment. "When I touch your mind, I see chaos. But it's beautiful chaos. Like a storm that somehow creates instead of destroys. You can read my mind? A little. Human thoughts are thick, hard to see through, but I can feel the shape of them." She paused. "You think in pictures and emotions. We think in numbers and logic." Marcus was getting stronger every day. The crystal healing was amazing. Cuts that should have taken weeks to heal were gone in days. But he was starting to feel restless. "When can I go home?" he asked Dr. Krental during a checkup. The doctor's expression changed. "That is not for me to decide." "What do you mean?" Velnara answered. "My mother wants to meet you." "Your mother?" "Queen Silthara, ruler of the Zephyrian Empire." Marcus felt a chill. "Is that good or bad?" "I'm not sure," Velnara said quietly. The next day, they brought Marcus clothes, made of some kind of soft metal that felt like silk. Velnara led him through halls that seemed to go on forever. The walls were covered in crystals that showed moving pictures of Zephyrian history. "Your people have been around for a long time," Marcus said, watching crystal warriors fight ancient battles. 50,000 years, Velnara said. "We learned to control everything. War, disease, even death in some ways. But we lost something too." "What did you lose?" "Surprise." They reached two huge doors that looked like they were made from a single giant crystal. Guards in armor that glowed with inner light stood on both sides. "Remember," Velnara whispered, "my mother values strength and logic above all else. Be respectful, but don't let her scare you." The doors opened. The throne room was the biggest space Marcus had ever seen. The ceiling was so high he couldn't see it. Crystals the size of buildings grew from the floor and walls. And sitting on a throne that looked like frozen starlight was Queen Silthara. She was beautiful and terrible at the same time. Her crystal skin was pure white, and her eyes glowed like small suns. When she looked at Marcus, he felt like she was looking right through him. "So," the queen said, her voice echoing through the huge room, "this is the human who saved my daughter." Marcus walked forward and gave a small bow. "Your Majesty, do you know why you're here, human?" "To meet you, I guess." The queen smiled, but it wasn't a warm smile. "My daughter tells me interesting things about your species. She says you make decisions without logic, that you fight battles you cannot win." that you sacrifice yourselves for others with no hope of reward. That sounds like us, Marcus said. It sounds impossible, the Queen said. I have ruled for 3,000 years. I have seen 1,000 species. All of them follow the same patterns. They seek survival. They avoid pain. They choose the logical path. She stood up from her throne. But you chose pain. You chose a battle you should have lost. You chose to risk everything for someone you barely knew. Marcus didn't know what to say to that. I want to understand this, the Queen continued. I want to study this human way of thinking. Okay, Marcus said slowly. What does that mean? The Queen's smile grew wider. It means, Captain Marcus Chen of Earth, that you are going to stay here as my guest. For a very long time. Rever. Marcus felt his heart sink. What if I don't want to stay? That, said Queen Silthara, is not your choice to make. Guards moved to stand behind Marcus. They didn't touch him, but the message was clear. Velnara stepped forward. Mother, he saved my life. Surely he deserves to go home. He will have a home here, the Queen said. The finest rooms, the best food, teachers to learn from us, and students to learn from him. It is the highest honor we can give. Marcus looked around the beautiful, terrible room. And if I try to leave? You won't, the Queen said with certainty. Because you are curious too. You want to understand us as much as we want to understand you. She was right, Marcus realized. Part of him did want to stay and learn, but a bigger part of him wanted to go home. Don't think of it as a prison, Queen Silthara said. Think of it as an extended cultural exchange. Marcus looked at Velnara. Her glowing eyes were sad. How long? Marcus asked. The Queen's smile never wavered. As long as it takes. As guards led him away to his new rooms, Marcus heard Velnara arguing with her mother in their musical language. He couldn't understand the words, but he could hear the anger and sadness in the princess's voice. His new quarters were beautiful, bigger than his apartment back on Earth. But when Marcus tried the door, it wouldn't open. He was a prisoner in paradise. And somehow, he had a feeling this was just the beginning. Marcus had been in his beautiful prison for a week when the Queen sent for him again. This time, the throne room was different. Tables and strange machines filled the space. Dozens of Zephyrians in fancy robes stood around watching. Welcome to your first test, human, Queen Silthara said from her crystal throne. Test? I need to see if the stories about you are true, or if my daughter was just impressed by luck. Marcus looked around at all the aliens staring at him. What kind of test? 3 challenges, the Queen said. Mind, body, and spirit. Succeed, and you will have my respect. Fail. She didn't finish the sentence. The first test was at a table covered with glowing symbols. An old Zephyrian with dim, tired eyes sat across from Marcus. This is Master Yeltron, the Queen said. He has been solving puzzles for 800 years. Your task is simple. Solve this puzzle before he does. The puzzle appeared in the air above the table. It looked like a maze made of light, but the walls kept moving and changing. Numbers and symbols floated through it. Master Yeltron closed his eyes and started thinking. Marcus could almost see his thoughts working, like a computer running through every possible solution. Marcus stared at the floating maze. He didn't understand the symbols or the math, but something about it reminded him of his childhood. His grandmother used to tell him stories about heroes who got lost in magical forests. In the stories, the heroes never found their way by being smart, he said to himself. They found their way by following their hearts. Instead of trying to understand the symbols, Marcus looked for patterns that felt right. He ignored the math and focused on the shapes. One path looked like a smile. Another looked like a bird flying home. He reached out and touched the path that felt like hope. The maze lit up bright green. "Correct," said a voice. Master Yeltron opened his eyes in shock. "Impossible. I was still calculating." "How did you solve it?" the Queen asked. Marcus shrugged. "I guessed." The second test was in a huge room with walls that could move. The Queen explained the rules. "You must get from here to the other side. You have 1 hour. The walls will try to stop you." As soon as Marcus started walking, the walls began to move. They pushed at him, trying to squish him. They shot out spikes that barely missed his head. The floor tilted and tried to make him fall into holes. A normal person would have studied the pattern and tried to find the safe way through. But Marcus had grown up playing sports. He knew how to move without thinking. He ran, jumped, and rolled through the deadly room. When a wall tried to crush him, he slid under it. When spikes shot out, he was already somewhere else. He didn't think about it. He just moved. Halfway through, his shoulder got cut by a spinning blade. Blood ran down his arm, but he kept going. A Zephyrian watching the test fainted at the sight of blood. "Fascinating," the Queen said. "He's not avoiding the pain. He's accepting it. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you in the night in one. For Mormon time," the Queen said in the tribe. Marcus reached the other side with 10 minutes to spare. His clothes were torn, and he was bleeding from several small cuts. But he was smiling. "Why are you happy?" asked the Queen. "You're injured." "Because it was fun," Marcus said. "Like the obstacle courses back home." The Queen looked at him like he was crazy. The third test was the strangest. They put Marcus in a chair and showed him pictures on a big screen. The pictures showed different scenarios, where he had to make quick decisions. "A ship is sinking," the Queen said. "You can save 5 strangers or 1 friend. Which do you choose?" Marcus thought for a second. "My friend. That's not logical. 5 lives are worth more than 1. "Maybe," Marcus said. "But I couldn't live with myself if I let my friend die. Your enemy is wounded and asking for help. He tried to kill you yesterday. What do you do?" "Help him." "Why?" "Because he's hurt." The questions got harder. Each one asked Marcus to choose between what was logical and what felt right. Every time, he chose what felt right. The Zephyrians in the room started whispering to each other in their musical language. Some of them looked upset. The last question was the hardest. You must choose between saving your home planet or saving a ship full of alien children you've never met. Which do you choose? Marcus sat quietly for a long time. This one really hurt to think about. "The children," he finally said. "Your own species or aliens you don't know." "Kids are kids," Marcus said. "They didn't choose to be in danger. My planet at least has soldiers who can fight back." Queen Silthara stood up from her throne. "Explain this to me. Why do you choose death over life? Emotion over logic? Pain over comfort?" Marcus stood up too. He was tired of being tested like a lab rat. "Because that's what makes us human," he said, louder than he meant to. "Maybe your way is better. Maybe logic is smarter. But when everything goes wrong, when the math says you should give up, humans don't give up. We keep fighting. We keep hoping. We choose to care about each other even when it hurts." "That makes no sense," said Master Yeltron. "No," Marcus agreed. "It doesn't. But sense isn't everything." He looked around the room at all the crystal faces staring at him. "You want to know what makes humans special? We're stupid enough to believe that things can get better. We're crazy enough to sacrifice ourselves for people we barely know. We make terrible decisions that somehow work out." Marcus walked closer to the Queen's throne. "You've lived for thousands of years. You've conquered death and war and disease. But when was the last time one of your people did something that surprised you?" The Queen was quiet for a moment. We don't like surprises. I know, Marcus said. But maybe that's the problem. Suddenly, alarms started ringing throughout the palace. A guard rushed in and whispered something to the queen. Her crystal face went pale. What's wrong? Marcus asked. Void Reapers, the queen said. They've found our homeworld. They're attacking the outer colonies. The guard spoke again. The queen's expression got worse. They want revenge for their brothers you killed. They're demanding we turn you over to them. Marcus felt cold. And if you don't? They'll destroy every human settlement in this sector of space. The room went silent. Marcus could hear his own heartbeat. Well, he said finally, I guess I should get ready to go. No, said Princess Velnara from the doorway. Marcus hadn't seen her come in. There has to be another way. 1. The logical choice is clear, Master Yeltron said. One life for millions. But Queen Silthara was looking at Marcus with a strange expression. Earlier, you said you would choose the alien children over your own planet. Yeah. Even if it meant your own people would hate you for it? Yeah. The queen smiled, but this time, it was a real smile. I think I'm beginning to understand humans. She turned to her guard. Send a message to the Void Reapers. Tell them if they want the human, they can come and take him. Marcus blinked. What? You wanted to know when my people last surprised me? The queen said. Today. Because for the first time in 1,000 years, I'm going to make a decision based on emotion instead of logic. She stood up from her throne. I'm going to fight for you, Marcus Chen, even though it makes no sense. Marcus felt something warm in his chest. Hope, maybe. Why? He asked. Queen Silthara's eyes glowed brighter. Because you taught me something today. Sometimes the stupid choice is the right choice. For the first time since arriving on the Crystal World, Marcus felt like he might actually get home someday. 3 months passed after the Queen's promise to protect Marcus. The Void Reapers had attacked twice, but Zephyrian defenses held them back. Marcus should have felt safe, but instead, he felt trapped. His rooms were bigger now. The Queen had given him an entire wing of the palace. He had servants, teachers, and access to the greatest library in the galaxy. But he still couldn't leave. It's for your own protection, the Queen told him during one of their daily meetings. And for my people's education. These meetings had become routine. Marcus would sit in a comfortable chair while the Queen asked him questions about human behavior. Other Zephyrians would take notes on everything he said. Tell me about human music, the Queen said one day. What about it? Why do humans create sounds that serve no logical purpose? Marcus thought about his favorite song from back home. Because it makes us feel things. But feeling things can be painful. Yeah. But it can be beautiful too. The Queen made a note on her crystal tablet. Fascinating. Your species seeks emotional experiences, even when they cause suffering. Marcus was getting tired of being studied like a bug in a jar. Don't your people feel anything? We feel purpose, order, the satisfaction of logical conclusions. That sounds boring. The Queen's eyes flashed. Boring? We have achieved perfect society. No war among ourselves. No crime. No uncertainty. No surprises. No growth. No change. Marcus stood up from his chair. He'd been doing this more often lately, walking around during their talks. It seemed to make the Queen nervous. I want to go home, he said. Your home is here now. This isn't my home. This is a beautiful prison. The Queen's expression softened a little. Marcus, you are teaching us things we never knew. Your way of thinking could help us become better. And what about what I want to become? You have everything here. Knowledge, comfort, respect. But not freedom. Princess Velnara had been sitting quietly in the corner. Now she spoke up. Mother, maybe we should listen to what Marcus wants. He doesn't understand what's best for him. The Queen replied. That's exactly what you don't get. Marcus said, feeling anger rise in his chest. Humans don't want someone else to decide what's best for us. We want to choose for ourselves. Even if we choose wrong. That night, Marcus tried to escape for the first time. He used techniques from his military training to disable the door sensors. He made it halfway to the spaceport before guards found him. Queen Silthara was waiting when they brought him back. That was foolish, she said. That was human, Marcus replied. The next day, there were more guards. Electronic locks, sensors in every room. But Marcus didn't give up. He tried again a week later. This time using knowledge he'd learned from the palace teachers. He created a small explosive from cleaning supplies and blew a hole in his bedroom wall. He made it to the gardens before they caught him. You're only making this harder on yourself, the queen said. I'm making it harder on you too, Marcus pointed out. Which was the idea? The third escape attempt was his best. Marcus had spent weeks learning Zephyrian technology. He rewired the computer systems and created false signals that made the guards think he was still in his room while he climbed through the air vents. He actually made it to a small ship in the royal hangar. But when he tried to start it, nothing happened. The queen was standing in the doorway. I removed the power cells, she said calmly. Of course you did. Marcus, why do you keep trying when you know you'll fail? Marcus climbed out of the ship and faced her. Because failing while trying is better than giving up. That makes no sense. It doesn't have to make sense. It just has to be true. But something had changed during Marcus's escape attempts. Word of his efforts had spread through the palace. Young Zephyrians started asking him questions when the older ones weren't listening. Why do humans keep fighting impossible battles? Asked Zarlin, a young crystal-skinned woman who worked in the palace library. Because sometimes the impossible happens, Marcus told her. But the mathematics of probability. Math is just one way to look at things. Sometimes you need faith too. These conversations happened more and more often. Marcus found himself talking to gardeners, servants, and young guards about human ideas. Freedom, choice, the right to make your own mistakes. My people say chaos is dangerous, said Keth Moore, a young guard. Chaos can be dangerous, Marcus agreed. But it can also be creative. New ideas come from chaos. But new ideas disrupt order. Sometimes order needs to be disrupted. Princess Velnara noticed the change first. The young ones are talking differently, she told her mother. They ask questions they never asked before. What kind of questions? About choice. About whether our way is the only right way. Queen Silthara didn't like this news. She called Marcus to another meeting. You've been spreading dangerous ideas, she said. I've been answering questions honestly. You're making my people doubt their society. Marcus looked at her directly. Maybe they should doubt it. Our society has lasted 50,000 years. And how much has it grown in that time? How much has it changed? How much has it improved? The queen was quiet for a long moment. We achieved perfection long ago. There was no need for change. That's not perfection, Marcus said. That's death. Things that don't grow. Die. You don't understand the responsibility of leadership, the queen said. I must protect my people from chaos and uncertainty. Even if it means protecting them from growth and freedom, freedom is overrated. It leads to conflict and suffering. Marcus thought about Earth, about all the wars and problems his people had, but also about all the art and music and love that came from humans being free to choose. Maybe, he said. But it also leads to amazing things. That night, Marcus heard singing outside his window. He looked out and saw a group of young Zephyrians in the garden. They were singing a human song he'd taught one of them. But they were singing it in harmony, using their telepathic abilities to blend their voices perfectly. It was beautiful and strange and completely new. Princess Velnara appeared beside him at the window. They've been doing this every night, she said. Creating new songs that mix human and Zephyrian styles. Your mother must hate that. She's concerned. She says, "You're contaminating our culture." Marcus watched the young aliens singing together. "What do you think?" Velnara was quiet for a while. "I think contamination might not be the right word. Maybe evolution?" The next morning, Queen Silthara made an announcement. Marcus was to have no more contact with anyone except teachers and guards. His influence was to be contained, but it was too late. The questions had already been planted. The young Zephyrians had tasted something new, and they wanted more. Change was coming to the Crystal Empire, whether the Queen wanted it or not. Marcus just hoped he'd live to see it. Marcus had been isolated for 2 weeks when Princess Velnara came to his room in the middle of the night. She looked scared, which was strange for someone who could read minds. "We need to talk," she whispered. "About what?" "About saving your life." Marcus sat up in bed. "What's happening?" "My mother is planning something. She won't tell me what, but I can feel her thoughts. She's conflicted, angry. She sees you as a threat now." "A threat to what?" "To everything she's built. The young ones aren't just asking questions anymore. They're demanding answers. Some of them are refusing orders. There was almost a riot in the academy yesterday." Marcus felt a cold chill. Students demanding the right to choose their own studies, to travel off-world, to make their own decisions. Velnara sat down beside him. "They're using words you taught them. Freedom, choice, individual rights. And your mother blames me. She says you're a virus, that human ideas are spreading through our society like a disease." Marcus looked out the window at the crystal city below. Even at night, it glowed with soft light. It was beautiful, but it was also perfectly ordered. Every building in its place. Every person following the same patterns. "Maybe I am a virus," he said. "Maybe that's what your society needs. My mother doesn't agree. She's going to make you disappear." "Marcus." Quietly. "She'll tell everyone you died of some human disease we couldn't cure." Marcus wasn't surprised. He'd been expecting something like this. There might be a way to stop her. Velnara continued. "An old law. Ancient, but still valid." "What kind of law?" "The right of challenge. If someone believes they're being treated unjustly, they can demand a trial. But not a normal trial. A trial of ideas." Marcus had never heard of this. What does that mean? 2 people argue their positions before the entire empire. Not with weapons, but with words and ideas. The people decide who wins. And if I win, you go free. More than that, your ideas become part of our law. And if I lose? Velnara looked away. Traditional punishment for challenging the crown is death. Marcus thought about this. It was a big risk. But staying here wasn't really living anyway. How do I invoke this right of challenge? You have to do it publicly, in front of witnesses, during the morning court session. The next day, Marcus walked into the throne room during Queen Silthara's daily meetings with her advisors. Guards moved to stop him, but he spoke before they could reach him. "Your Majesty," he said in a loud voice that echoed through the chamber. "I invoke the ancient right of challenge." The room went dead silent. Even the guards stopped moving. Queen Silthara's eyes blazed with anger. "On what grounds?" "On the grounds that I'm being held against my will. That my rights as a sentient being are being violated. And that your fear of human ideas is making you break your own laws about justice." Murmurs filled the room. Several advisors looked nervous. "You don't understand our laws, human," the Queen said. "I understand them well enough. I've had good teachers." Marcus looked around at all the crystal faces staring at him. "I challenge your right to hold me prisoner I challenge your belief that your people can't handle new ideas, and I challenge you to prove that logic is better than freedom. The queen stood up from her throne. Very well. Trial by ideas. Tomorrow at sunset. The entire empire will watch. Good, Marcus said. Let them see what happens when someone chooses hope over fear. The queen's smile was cold as winter. Prepare yourself, human. Tomorrow you will learn why logic always defeats emotion. The news spread across the crystal world faster than light. By evening, crowds had gathered outside the palace. Marcus could see them through his window. Thousands of Zephyrians talking excitedly in their musical language. Velnara visited him that night. Are you ready? She asked. As ready as I can be. My mother has been preparing for 3,000 years. She knows every logical argument ever made. Marcus smiled. Good thing I'm not planning to use logic. The trial was held in the largest amphitheater on the planet. Millions of Zephyrians filled the crystal seats. More watched through telepathic links across the empire. Marcus stood on one side of a raised platform. Queen Silthara stood on the other. Between them was a sphere of light that would record everything they said. The question before us, announced an ancient Zephyrian judge, is simple. Should this human be free to leave? And should his ideas be allowed to spread among our people? Queen Silthara spoke first. Her voice carried clearly through the vast space. For 50,000 years, we have built the perfect society. No war, no crime, no suffering. We achieved this through logic, order, and unity of purpose. This human brings chaos. His ideas create division where there was harmony. His influence makes our people question truths that have served us for millennia. She gestured to Marcus. He teaches our young to value emotion over reason, to choose uncertainty over security, to prize individual desires over collective good. These ideas have destroyed countless civilizations. They lead to conflict, pain, and death. The Queen's arguments were perfect. Every point was supported by evidence. Every logical pathway led to the same conclusion. Marcus was dangerous and should be contained. When she finished, the crowd was quiet. Many Zephyrians nodded in agreement. Now it was Marcus's turn. He walked to the center of the platform and looked up at all the crystal faces watching him. Millions of them. An entire civilization, waiting to hear what one human had to say. The Queen is right, Marcus began. I am dangerous. My ideas do bring chaos. They will change your perfect society. Surprised, murmurs rippled through the crowd. But let me ask you something, Marcus continued. When was the last time any of you felt truly alive? When did you last surprise yourself? When did you last create something new, or discover something amazing, or fall in love, or have your heart broken, or stand up for something you believed in even when everyone told you to sit down? He paused, looking around the amphitheater. You call this perfection, but I call it death. You've achieved everything, but you've stopped growing. You've eliminated suffering, but you've also eliminated joy. You've created order, but you've lost wonder. Marcus thought about Earth, about all its problems and beauty. My people aren't perfect. We fight wars. We make mistakes. We hurt each other and ourselves. But we also write music that makes people cry. We paint pictures that capture the soul. We fall in love so hard it breaks us. We sacrifice ourselves for strangers. We keep trying even when everything says we should give up. He looked directly at Queen Silthara. You want to know what makes humans dangerous? We believe things can always get better. We believe in tomorrow, even when today is terrible. We believe in each other, even when we have every reason not to. Marcus turned back to the crowd. I'm not asking you to become human. I'm asking you to become more than you are now. To grow. To change. To risk being wrong. so you can also risk being magnificent. He spread his arms wide. The queen offers you safety. I offer you possibility. She offers you certainty. I offer you hope. Choose. God. Me be live. Gape seeding. God na. End quote. The amphitheater erupted. Thousands of Zephyrians were on their feet, arguing, shouting, singing. The perfect order of their society cracked like ice in spring. Queen Silthara looked around at her people with shock. They had never behaved like this before. You see, she called over the noise, this is what his ideas bring: chaos, division. But Princess Velnara stood up in the royal box. No, mother, she said, her voice somehow carrying over the crowd. This is what life looks like. Creasine. Creasine. She looked at Marcus with glowing eyes. I choose possibility. One by one, the younger Zephyrians in the crowd began to chant. Freedom. Choice. Hope. The chant spread until half the amphitheater was saying it. Queen Silthara stood alone on her platform, watching her perfect society transform before her eyes. Finally, she raised her hand for silence. When the crowd quieted, she spoke. It seems, she said slowly, that my people have already chosen. She looked at Marcus with something that might have been respect. You are free to go, human. And, she paused, as if the words hurt to say, your ideas are welcome in our empire. The crowd exploded in cheers that shook the crystal buildings. Marcus felt something he hadn't felt in months. Relief, joy, and something else. Hope. A month later, Marcus stood on the bridge of a Zephyrian ship heading back to Earth. Princess Velnara stood beside him, watching the stars. Thank you, she said. For what? For showing us how to be alive again. Marcus smiled. Your people are going to do amazing things, now that they're free to choose their own path. What about you? What will you do when you get home? Marcus thought about it. Earth would seem different now, after everything he'd experienced. I'll tell them what I learned, he said. That being human isn't about being perfect. It's about never giving up on the idea that tomorrow can be better than today. Behind them, the crystal world grew smaller in the distance. But the changes Marcus had started there would grow larger with every passing day. And somewhere in the galaxy, an ancient empire was learning how to hope again.